In this video, we're going to take a look at dashboards within the Hive5 to show you how to create your own dashboard, how to add elements which can help us visualize data, and why that's going to be useful for us using the platform. On the dashboards page, we're going to click the plus icon in the top left. We're going to ask to enter a title and description. So we're going to set these as test, and we're going to leave the visibility as private so that only our user account has access to this dashboard. We'll click confirm, it will appear in the table, and then we can click on the dashboard name to go to the dashboard itself. Now we can see there's absolutely nothing here. So what we're going to need to do is go into the top right corner, click edit, and we can see these are all the different elements that we can add to our dashboard. So we can see here with a very faint dotted outline, we already have a row, and these elements are used to structure how we lay out all of our other elements in the dashboard. So we're going to go through 3 different use cases just to kind of get you familiar with how dashboards work and how to do filtering and things like that. So the first thing we're going to do, nice and simple, is we want to be able to show the severity of all cases in the platform. So for this, we're going to use a donut, also known as a pie chart. We're going to click and drag and drop that into the row. We're going to give it a title. We're going to call it case severity. And then for the entity, this is the object that we want to look at to retrieve information from. So because we're looking at case severity, we want to select case. And then for the category, we want to look at severity. So we don't need to do any filtering because at the moment we want to retrieve all of the case statuses which are in here by default. So low, medium, high, and critical. And we can just click confirm and that's going to get added to our dashboard. So we can see we have 4 total cases. We have 1 that's critical and 3 that are medium. So let's say we want to change these colors because they've picked really gross colors to be default. We can go to critical, click the paint, and we can change this to a nice brighter red. And then we're going to do the same for medium as well, make it a brighter orange. We'll click confirm. And there we go, it's updated, perfect. And we've created our first dashboard panel. So next, we're going to create a counter that's going to help us understand the different statuses of tasks within the Hive5. So we're going to use the text element, which is, we're going to use the counter element, which is here. We're going to drag and drop this into our row. We're going to call it task, we'll call it task status breakdown. Now for the entity, because we're looking at tasks, we don't want to select case. We want to scroll down and find task itself. And then we have filters, which we're not going to need to use just yet, but we have series, right? And this is where we actually plot data onto our graph. So we're going to add the first one. The aggregation is going to be count, right? Because we want to see the count of each different status. We are going to click into here, which is the little filter box. We are going to go to status, is any of, which is the default value. And then we're going to click weighting. Now what we want to do here is we want to set a label just so that when we're looking at the graph, it is just better displayed to us and it's more descriptive. So we're just going to set this as weighting. We're going to do this again. So we're going to go to count, click in here to filter on status is in progress. And we're going to set the label as in progress. We're just going to quickly repeat this for the other 2 statuses. Again, count, filter on status is any completed, set the label, and then we have one more to do. Is cancelled. Perfect. We're going to click confirm, and there we go. We can see how many tasks are in each different status. That's really useful for us to help us understand, right? So at a glance, I can tell straight away nobody is working on any tasks. We have 11 that need to be done, 4 that have been completed, and 7 that have been cancelled or closed. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to do one more. And I think for this one, we are going to do let's do a line chart. We're going to drop this in here. We are going to call this case closure reasons. For the interval, we're going to set it by day. We're going to add a series, right? So the first one is going to be cases, because again, we're looking at cases here. We're going to set the aggregation again to count, because we want to get the count of that closure reason, also known as statuses. We are going to set this as line. we're going to leave the color for now, and we're going to filter on, where is it? Status is, let's go for true positive first, right? So this is when we've investigated and it is malicious activity. So we're going to give that a red color, and we're going to set the label as true positive. So we won't do this for every case status. So we'll just do a couple more. Again, aggregation on count. We're going to filter on status. Let's do this one for in progress. Now for in progress, we're going to assign an orange color, right? Because it's not good or bad. We still haven't determined that yet. Set that as line, and we're going to set this as in progress. We'll do one more. We'll add this. Entity is case. Count. Filter on status. Let's see, we've already got in progress and true positive. So let's do new. And ones that are new, we're going to assign it a yellow color. Type is line, label is new. And we're going to click confirm. Perfect. So what we can see here, right, is so this is over a longer time frame, right? This is actually over 3 months. So what we're going to do is scope this to be a lot smaller time frame. So we can see up here on the top, the period by default is set to 3 months. So we're just going to click on this and we're going to set 7 days. Perfect. It makes it a lot easier to see. So we can see that on this date, right, so the 26th of the 4th, which is today, we have 1 true positive, 1 in progress, and 1 new. So this kind of element dashboard panel here isn't going to provide immediate value to us, but as you can imagine, when we look over time, we can see the trends of different case closure reasons and case statuses. So for example, we could see if we had a continuous incline and increase in true positives or even false positives, right, which might tell us that we need to go and check out our alerting and see if anything can be tuned to stop these false positives coming in. So no immediate value right now, but this is a really handy graph to have when we're looking at things over a longer period of time. And there we have it. We've created our first dashboard. We're going to click save just so that everything stays as it is. And there we go. We've created our first dashboard. Obviously, there's a lot more that you can do. And also on the flip side, the Hive5, the dashboards we can create are pretty cool, but there are obviously a lot better platforms out there. So you could always just export stuff from the Hive and use a different dashboarding platform. But this is still useful functionality to have. We can still get value from this. And yeah, there we go. That's how to use dashboards. I did forget one thing, which is actually really, really important, is that we can actually dive into some of these elements. So for example here, right, we have case severity where we have 1 critical and 3 medium. We can actually click on the critical section here, and it's going to use the Hive5 search. We can see the search query that it's taken from that dashboard panel, and we can see the search results here, right? So we can see that critical case just by clicking on our dashboard. It's really, really handy. So if we go back to the dashboard quickly, we can see here, right, we've got 11 tasks that are waiting. I can click on this. It's going to do the search for me, and I can now see all of the tasks that are waiting to be actioned. So really, really cool functionality, and it means we can just get to certain parts of the Hive a lot quicker, and we can drill down into important information.